We are pleased to announce and express our heartfelt gratitude to Amba Foods for sponsoring us. We would urge you all to try their delicious and super tasty range of food products.
Welcome to the Hidden Hustle podcast. Today we are at Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and we have got the opportunity and an honor to shoot a podcast and have a conversation with Dr. Vishal Gupta sir. Sir has been a faculty at Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad since more than 10 years now. Sir has been conferred with many awards. Some of them are Emerging Psychologist Award, Young Scientist Award, and many other things. So it's Dr. Vishal Gupta on the Hidden Hustle. Please do watch it. So welcome, sir. So, sir, how has your journey been till now? How you got to IIM Ahmedabad? So, can you shed some light?
So first of all, thank you, Yash, and thank you, Hidden Hustle, for inviting me to be a part of this conversation. Uh, well, I have grown in Lucknow, and I did my 12th from Lucknow, and uh, fortunately, I was a college topper, a board topper. So at that time, the selection used to be on merit in a very famous engineering institute, BITS Pilani. So I got this is 2001, and I got selected to do my engineering at BITS Pilani campus.
Yes.
2001 to 2005, I did my engineering.
Okay.
I was very interested in electronics and VLSI design. And during our engineering, we also had introduction to management course. And due to my experiences at college, I felt I had a liking for psychology. I loved thinking about people, relationships. So though after my graduation from BITS Pilani, I got a job in an electronics firm. 6 months I spent in Germany. There in Germany also during the weekends I would read psychology. I would go to the library, read about psychology, something different from my electronics subject. So I would pick up some psychology book, start to read about topics. Slowly and slowly, 3 years in my job, I felt that my real interest does not necessarily lie in electronics. I was doing very well in my electronics job as well, but then I decided that I will make a switch to management.
Okay.
And I chose human resources management as my specialization.
Project. Yeah.
So I joined IIM Lucknow. Lucknow was my hometown, so I went back to Lucknow, stayed with my family, my parents there, and did my PhD. And I took leadership as my dissertation topic. So completed this in 4 years, and then got a job. My first job was at IIM Calcutta in the human resource department, and subsequently I got an offer and joined Ahmedabad. IIM Ahmedabad in March 2013. My area of work largely is in the domain of psychology and leadership. I teach leadership skills to our MBA students. It's an elective for people who come to the institute. So it's a second year elective. I used to teach leadership skills for our 1 year cohort, and so it's been fun. I can very happily say I do something that I really love. My innate interest was in psychology, and that is what I do today. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Such an inspiring story, sir. Actually, what happened was a year ago when I was just in my vacations, I was just sitting and scrolling my phone. I got to know that IIM Ahmedabad is offering leadership skills on Coursera.
Yeah.
So I said that let us do something productive rather just sitting and scrolling the phones. So I started watching, and it really got me interesting about things about the relationship management, about the topics the theories that you taught, the leap, treat. I still remember. Then the Mahabharat code.
Yeah.
So we will come to that part. But sir, when you talked about psychology, that you were interested in knowing about the relationships, about human management. So how does that interest generated? Like, was it something that you read and came to it?
Yeah, see, I would say uh, there were experiences in college. You see, one of the things that is very common in college is people coming together and then breakups, right? So relationships get built, relationships get broken. Another thing which is, I'm sure you would relate to it in college, is there is a lot of stress on performance, there is a lot of pressure
Right.
on how do we do things. Uh, so I come from a family which has been very religious and spiritual. So I think in our family and home conversations around Ramayana, Gita, Mahabharat, these were very common. I have even written this in my Mahabharat book. I have dedicated that book actually to my parents because they were the ones who first introduced us to Mahabharat, to Gita. So, you see, one of the things I have realized, Yash, is that there is something within us which does tell us that this is where your heart lies. And I was a very good student in electronics, a good employee, but slowly and slowly I felt that I want to do something which is my heart's calling. And I gave myself time. It's not that I did it immediately. I gave myself time. I read about the subject. I would read. And slowly, I realized that this is what I will do. And so eventually got to do it. You would be surprised to know. Uh, uh, I would tell this on record now that when I went to IIM Lucknow, I had an admit from Stanford in electronics. So I said, it's okay, it may be Stanford, but it is in electronics. So I still have that letter, admit letter. So I deferred it for 1 year. First of all, I said I will not come now, I'll come 1 year later. I had an admit in electronics PhD from University of Texas at Austin. I said no, I'm not sure. Though I have applied, I got into IIM Lucknow not on the basis of CAT but on the basis of GRE.
Okay.
So I had, so I gave myself time to kind of decide what I would want to do. In my first year of college, there was a mathematics professor who, at IIM Lucknow. He was teaching us mathematics, and he called me out and said that you are a PhD student. I said yes, professor. So he said, come and meet me outside after the class. So I went out, I met him, and he said, you are a PhD student? I said, yes, sir. What's your discipline? I said, sir, human resources management. So he said, well, you are very good at mathematics. Why have you chosen human resource management? So he said, you take a transfer to my department and we will do some work together. I said, sir, give me some time. I'll think about it. And next day I went back and said, sorry, sir, I have made up my mind. I will work in human resource management. Thank you for the offer. He felt very nice. He was actually on my thesis committee as well. So yeah, I would say, yes, listening to your heart, giving yourself time to understand what you are getting into, not being in a hurry. And then once you take that call, staying with it. And at not even one day, I have felt that I made a wrong choice. And yeah, so things have happened.
That's great, sir. really inspiring actually to be persistent with your thoughts, what your heart says, and being just working towards it.
Yeah.
Hard work.
Yes.
So one thing that I learned from the course, and I also read about you, is that you teach and you actually provide consultancy to the big firms about the mindfulness, about the leadership, about emotional intelligence. So, sir, can you shed some light on it, that how and what it is?
Mindfulness, right? What is mindful? What is being mindful? Mindfulness only means, very simply, being where you are. One of the problems that we have, and what we see, what I see in our classrooms with the young kids, you see, we all have access access to devices. We all have. I tell this in my class. We carry distractions in our pocket.
Yes.
Distraction is everywhere. Distraction is in your pocket. Distraction is on your laptop. Distraction is anywhere you go. So the simplest thing is, I taught that in the leadership skills course. There is no such thing as multitasking.
Yeah.
You cannot do two things at the same time. If we can remember this one simple fact in our life, we can practice mindfulness.
Yeah.
You are sitting here, you can be here. If you start to think about
Not
something
outside.
else, you cannot give your 100% to where you are.
Definitely.
It is true for everything. And what I have realized and what I feel is, especially for young people who may be listening, if you want to build good relationships with your girlfriends, boyfriends, with your subordinates, superiors, as leaders, you would be working with under bosses, you would be leading subordinates, give them your attention. Give them your attention. Look at what's happening in families. Everybody is sitting together, everybody is watching the mobile. Everybody is sitting around the dinner table,
Yeah.
everybody is watching the television. Nobody is talking to each other. Just one thing, mindful. Forget that there is anything called as multitasking.
Yeah.
I have to do, if I'm here talking to a student, I have to be 100% here. That is how I show respect to people.
Actually.
That is how I build relationships. That is how and people can make out. I can make out in your eyes that you are paying attention, because we see attention in the eyes.
In the eyes.
The moment you are distracted, your eyes will move away.
Actually.
So that is something that becomes very important. And this is not something that is today. The Western world is actually researching on this. Buddha talked about it 2,500 years ago.
Oh.
Buddha was the one who made mindfulness very popular at his time, that we have to live where we are. Where we are. That's about mindfulness. Emotional intelligence is being intelligent about your emotion. What is emotional intelligence? Forget any theory. I will give you just one saying. Be intelligent about emotions. Add intelligence to your emotions, because emotions are illiterate. I will become look at what happens at on the road. Road rage, right? Somebody becomes angry. What do? We get in a fight, and fights escalate. People may end up killing somebody. We may get into fights. Simply add intelligence to emotions, because emotions come with a predetermined response. If you are angry, you will fight. If you are afraid, you will run away. If you are jealous, you will hate somebody, you will move away, or you will try to sabotage. So these all emotions come with a predetermined response. If we are in love, right, rationality again goes out of window. Okay. Add intelligence to
your
emotions. Otherwise, emotions may make us do things, unimaginable things, right? And that is something. How can you add intelligence? Remember, first of all, you have to take a pause, right? I teach in my course, I call it as the STOP framework. STOP, stop. Step back,
Okay.
think,
Think.
organize your thoughts,
Yeah.
and then proceed.
Proceed.
Step back, okay? The emotion will drive you to take an action. Step back, think, okay? Organize your thoughts. Think, can I think about this situation differently? Can I think about the action? Organize your thoughts and then proceed, okay? We are at least giving ourselves a chance
Yeah.
that we may act
We may act
a
better.
little differently. Remember Munna Bhai MBBS, the first movie? Whenever he would get angry, what would he do? The principal,
Right.
he would start laughing. So people asked, in the movie, it is called as the laughter therapy. It's an idea which is telling us give yourself a bit of time. Okay, people may say something to you, you may get a response to fight, to hit back. Okay, but it's not thoughtful.
Thought.
That is illiterate emotion. Emotion comes, it's making your body act in a particular way.
Actually.
And that's very important for leaders. That's very important for each one of us as individuals, because this is the foundation on which relationships are built. And if we can manage that, we give ourselves chance to be better individuals, better leaders.
So we just talked about the leadership, that how leaders, and it is a saying that there is a leader inside every individual.
Yes.
Because you are not the leader of every group, it is not necessary, but you are leader to your thoughts, to yourself, maybe to a group too. So I learned this from leadership skills so well. So I wanted to ask you, out of my curiosity, that how did leadership skills course started on Coursera? How did you came up with this thing?
I would say it's a play of luck, fortune. I got an offer. I joined this institute 2013. 2016 is when I got an offer from the area that there is a first year, there is a compulsory course for our 1 year, the PGPX program, 1 year MBA program, leadership skills course. The faculty who were teaching that, they were going on leave, and so because my research, my dissertation had been on leadership, I was told that, well, you have to, would you teach it? So I said, why not? Let's try. So I started teaching that course in 2016, and have been teaching that course for many years. And then this partnership with Coursera came, and again, so another luck. Coursera said that one of the demands that they see is having some Indian course on leadership skills. I have a habit that I teach something that I write. So I don't like teaching somebody else's material. So I had been, over the last 4 or 5 years that I was teaching that course, I had created my own content. I had created my own cases. So it all came together. I then said that, okay, this is an Indian course, something that I have built. And so I kind of created that course. So that course that you see on Coursera is actually a replica of the course that I used to teach at IIM Ahmedabad, apart from the Mahabharat, the last module. Mahabharat came in because that was the year I had written that book,
Demystifying
leadership. So that is when I thought it maybe what better Indianization could be if we don't teach our own scriptures, we don't teach something that is Indian. And so that thing,
all the stars aligned together.
all the stars aligned, and yeah, have been nature, and has been very kind, I would say. Yeah.
Sir, you have just mentioned about the Mahabharat code, about the book that you have written, the second book of yours, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Sir. So, what are the core skills or the headlines of it that we can be talking about?
Yeah, so I would just share, given the nature of conversation that we're having, I will just talk about three things. First, mindfulness and emotional stability, which I have said is the core fundamental skill, which I talked about using the character of Ashwatthama, how it is important to manage our anger. Okay, otherwise anger can make us do
Things
bad
that we
things.
don't
Yeah,
want, yeah.
things otherwise we wouldn't do. The second is, again, which is very important, is to have very clear understanding of our identity. What is it that I like? What is it that I would like to do in my life? So sense of identity and purpose for young generation, very important. I also say, I talked about this idea using Kern as the character. uh, Kern was a great noble character, okay, but his downfall came because he got in bad company. He wanted to identify as a king, and in that pursuit, okay, he got in bad company.
company.
So, for all the young listeners, please be very watchful about your company. You may have some aspirational groups that you want to belong, okay, but in that pursuit of joining those groups, please don't fall in bad company. Be very, very conscious of that. So your sense of identity and purpose is very important. And third is your positive leadership skills that I talked about. So the treat framework, build your task skills. So work on yourself, work on your competence, whatever area you want, be it electronics, be it management, whatever you are doing, build that competence, build your relationship skills, be good, understand how do we create better relationships, be empowering wherever you go, create an environment where people feel empowered. You are not the boss, it's like an equal relationship. Be authentic, the A. Lead by example. Do what you say. Okay. The biggest problem with leaders is hypocrisy.
Yeah.
They say something,
They do
they do something. It's in organizations, it's in governments, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And the last is working in teams. Again, being able to work together, because that is how we take our work forward. We need teams. So being a good team player
member.
and working. So that's the three core message I would like to give: your mindfulness, emotional stability, identity and purpose, and the treat skills that we talked about. Yeah.
To all the listeners out there, you can get the books that Sir has written. He has written 3 books, Treat and Live, and Coming to the Mahabharat Code. You can all buy that 3 books from online. So do purchase that, do read that, and don't forget to mention Sir in your LinkedIn and Instagram posts. So, sir, coming to one of the hot topics right now, in just about a month, CAT exams are coming. So, a question comes that how important is MBA in today's era?
Um, I would say if you are interested in working in organizations, you are interested in thinking about how do we uh, create and lead teams and organizations. I think management is a very important discipline to learn. Uh, I'm not saying that MBA is the only way you learn management. You can learn on the job, you can learn through online programs. So I would say management is an important subject to understand. How you do it could be different. Okay, it could be coming to an IMA for IIM for a 2-year program, or it could be through online courses or whatever. But what is important is to learn. See, what is important is not just knowing the tech.
Yeah.
We are living in an age where technology is evolving very fast.
Yeah.
And if you are a techie, if you know the technology is very good, it is something that lays the foundation.
Hmm.
But how far you will go in your
Yeah.
career is dependent on how good you are going to be with the fuzzy skills, with the social skills.
Yes.
So it's not just good enough to be a techie. It is enough to be good at the fuzzy skills. And what is the most important fuzzy skill to know? That is to how do I deal with people? How do I
Communication.
manage people? How do I take people along? How do I become a better leader and so on? So in a world of technology, actually,
Hmm.
people who will do well are people who have the social skills.
Yeah.
So it is very important. So I would say it's an important subject. It's a science as well as an art. Okay. And you have to learn that eventually.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would know in your college as well. Uh, People who may be very good in a subject, it's good. People will come to them to, okay, I have some doubts, so please. But people who are popular, who are those people? People who are popular are people who are good to be with,
Yes.
right? Who people will enjoy being together, who people will like hanging out, like talking to. So it's an important thing, and my message to all listeners is master your fuzzy skills. Whichever way, medium you want, is something that you should do.
Great, sir. So after talking about MBA now, let us talk about as your professor life. How has the life been with around students? Like the students coming from all over the globe,
Yeah.
learning in the campus. How has that journey been? Your experiences through
Yeah,
that?
it has been a very, very enriching life. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you young. Apart from the gray hair, it keeps you young because you are constantly in touch with young students. You know how the society is evolving because you get to hear their stories, what's happening at their in their homes and families. Teaching students uh, is a job of responsibility. Uh, I feel I have butterflies in stomach even after 11 years, even after being a full professor, going to a class, because you know you have those smartest kids sitting in front of you and they can question what you are saying. So it has been a learning experience, and uh, if I make mistakes, I'm very open to accept it right in front of students. Maybe I got it wrong, so I would go back, correct it. I will read myself if I said something and a student questioned me. So it's a very important, I think, process of growth. And go to my class every day with only one thing: what is it that I can learn? How can I grow from this experience that I'm going to have? The kids may enjoy it very good, but it's also for my own growth and learning. So yeah, it's a nice little life that we have, and enjoying it.
Great, sir. So, sir, we would be ending our podcast with, can you just give a piece of advice to the young professionals, young students, and all the audience that has been watching our podcast?
Um, well, I would say do what you love. That is what I did. I gave you stories. Having an admit from Stanford, a professor saying change your discipline because you are a good in mathematics. Why are you in human resource management? Um, do what you love, because that is where true joy lies. Uh, Many a times you may not be able to do what you love. In that case, love what you do. Find reasons to love what you're doing. It's not easy. I know. I was very fortunate. My parents, I left a high paying job and came to IIM Lucknow to do PhD. I used to get 15,000 rupees as stipends. At that time, I left a corporate job. I was lucky. My parents never revolted. They did not need support. They were independent, so I could make that step. But it's not necessary that everybody may be able to do that. For those people, I would say, love what you do. It's not that happiness can come only by leaving jobs. Okay, you can actually make meaningful contributions in doing what you are doing with full sincerity. Ask yourself, find answer to the question, how do I make meaningful contribution? Because you see, there is something in us, each one of us, which finds joy when we give back.
Yes.
Everything that we do eventually has true joy when we give back. So we ask ourselves, what's the impact I am making? What is it that I am giving back? You can do that in your own contribution. As a professional, ask yourself, how do I make my world better by the task that I am doing? I reflect back, if I was a VLSI engineer, well, you see, the today electronics has changed the way we live, right?
Yes.
So it's not that Vishal Gupta had to leave an electronics career to really. Maybe if I was there, I could still have been happy, because to me that could have also given meaning.
Yes.
Find meaning in what you are doing. You can be happy there also. So do what you love or love what you do. Both will lead to happiness.
Yes.
And it is important to find that.
So thank you, sir, for an interesting, engaging podcast. It was really inspiring for us, and it was an honor to, first of all, be with you.
My pleasure.
So thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you, and wish you and your team the very best.
Thank you so much, sir. So that's all from today's podcast. Please stay tuned for more upcoming podcast. Thank you.